All right. Okay. So audio. Today's lesson is going to be more about recording audio on set. We are going to have a day where we do nothing but Foley and ADR. Someone tell me, what's the definition of Foley?
Mankind make Foley, right? Who knows what Foley is?
Making sound effects that sound like something real, like walking through leaves or something. Sound like.
So
like
it can be footsteps, it can be rustling. If Tim and I are acting in a scene and suddenly, we're starting to wrestle, the punch noise, the grabbing of the clothes.
We all know that when we watch movies, things don't actually sound like they do in movies. What's the noise? If I pulled out a knife on Grant, what noise would that make?
The sound of metal.
Right? Like shit, even though my knife, if I wave a knife around, it's not going to make any noises. But a sword's going to do that, and that helps our audience know. That helps the audience know what it helps clue the audience, the sounds help the audience know that, hey, this is a gun. A gun always makes the cocking noise. Even in some movies, you can pull it out and it'll go, right? Like, so people know it's a gun.
Yeah.
Like
So-
it's like the gun isn't shown, they make that sound to make it like that.
Yeah,
The
so
viewers know, like, oh, a gun is about to be.
Yeah.
shown.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And so the art of creating sounds for movies is full.
Yeah. And so we'll have a session where we're going to take a scene from a movie and we're going to recreate all of the Foley for that scene. And then we'll do all of the ADR. Now that's separate. What is ADR?
ADR is
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Go, Jake.
Who was gonna say it first? I
will.
didn't mean to interrupt. Who was gonna say
Go
it?
ahead.
Yeah,
You
go
started to
ahead.
speak, so go.
ADR is basically audio dubbing replacement. It's basically replacing the voice lines of an actor or from the raw footage and replacing it with newly made voice line material.
You're close.
Well, the definition's good, but what does ADR stand for? And what you said was not right, just FYI.
Automated.
Who knows what? Phil?
Automated
Put
dialogue
your hand in
replacement.
front of it.
Automated dialogue
Oh.
replacement.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is recreating the sounds coming from the actors' voices.
Why would we do that?
I just had on 4 Weddings and a Funeral last night, and there's a scene, the big romantic scene at the end. They're standing in the rain, and there's no way that you can have audio equipment out in the rain. You don't want to ruin your equipment, but also the sound would be awful. There are cars that drive by, when it's raining, big loud noises and that type of thing. So they, because of weather conditions and bad audio, had to recreate all that sound, all those sounds, ADR and Foley, on a sound stage where they get nice and clean and everything sounding perfect.
Is it easy, Grant?
What?
Making ADR, good ADR?
No, I mean, we're gonna practice it because it takes time. By the way, ADR is a skill that some actors, great actors, can't always master. There's someone we've worked with, Tim, Danae Lewis, who is a fantastic actor. She's amazing. She struggles with ADR, and a session with maybe 5 or 6 lines might take her 4, 5, 6 hours to get it right. Or some people can, they hear it one time and able to duplicate it immediately. It's not only good, clean sound, but you then have to give the same performance and the same cadence and all of that, so it matches perfectly. And it's a skill that actors must develop.
Who in here has recorded ADR before? Should be on.
I have.
Us.
Yeah.
I would say though the process of doing ADR depends on what it is for. Now, like if we were recording voice lines for someone that was wearing a mask, it could be simple of recording the voice lines because you don't really see the facial movement.
Yep.
But when you actually need to watch the facial movements, that's when you got to match what you're saying with what is being said on screen. So typically, what may happen is that you may have to show video with the actors so that they can match perfectly with what the actor is saying on screen.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
the automatic dialogue, the looping sessions will have a screen so that the actors can watch their performance and hear it several times before they say the lines. We'll get into ADR and looping though later because we're going to have a whole day where we're going to create a scene. By the way, Tim and I are open to suggestions. We have picked Tim's favorite film is Back to the Future, so we've done twice. We did the dinner scene, and then we did the diner scene for Back to the Future. We also did a Ghostbusters, which I think was one of the neatest things Tim ever did to me because I edited and it was over 1,000 hours I spent editing that stupid video. There were layers and layers, and there were proton blasters.
Next time I won't do it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but we did Ghostbusters.
So don't pick sci-fi, really.
We did what's the one? They go deeper and deeper into the mind.
The Descent.
No. It was they go to sleep and then they.
Oh, Inception.
Inception. We did a scene from
Mine.
Inception.
I heard Mine.
And we did Black Knight. A couple of scenes from. We did, yeah. So we've done a few. If there are scenes that have dialogue for several actors, because several of you will probably want to do the ADR, and then some cool Foley sounds that are doable without having to layer a bunch of things together.
I keep suggesting Jurassic Park, and Grant's like, how are we going to make the dinosaur noises, right?
Just make someone voice act a dinosaur, sure are.
So anyways, if you have scene suggestions, let us know. But that's coming up in a few weeks when we do ADR and Foley. Today we're talking about recording on set. We're going to be recording tomorrow and on Saturday, so we want to learn the basics. So let's go through them. We use the Zoom F8. We have two of them. I have one and the college has one. This one is slightly different, but they're basically the same. Battery system is different. But as you look at it, it's called the F8 because it has 8 XLR inputs. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on that side. Then there is
7.
Headphone ports on the right side. There is the 1/4 inch and then the mini right there. So you can have 2 headphone inputs, or you can do splitters and have more people listen. On an ideal set, who's listening to the audio?
Well, the audio mixer, who's
Audio mixers, that's the most important person. That person has to make sure there are no airplanes or dogs barking, make sure that levels are just right.
The microphone isn't rubbing.
That's the biggest issue.
And that's
Train
really
horns.
one of the most important elements of audio is monitoring your audio. I've been on shoots where they don't have a headset. And yes, you can see visual representations on the audio meters, but you don't know what you're recording. You could be completely recording just static at a high volume. And if you don't have a headset, you're really risking everything. Why risk anything? A headset is key when recording audio.
Yeah. There are 8 inputs. Actually, there are more inputs, but for our purposes, XLR puts, there are 8. Some other things you're going to need to know. The power is there. So when we have AC power, we plug it in, it runs here. This does have a battery system. So if we're in the field, it can take 8 AA batteries. And so we can film on location. This system for this F8 is different than the others. This one comes with a cartridge that comes out and you put the 8 batteries in. I like this feature better for this one. Then if you look at the front, and I'm going to show the camera, and if you can't see, you need to come closer. Each one of the 8 inputs has its own meter on it. So you can control the recording volume for each channel. And when you turn a channel on, the light turns up in red. So on this one that's powered up, you can see that we have channel 1 on. If you push the number itself, it turns the channel on. We want to leave them off unless we're recording, because every time you hit record when a channel's on, it's creating a separate track. And if there's static or no information, still is a track. So only record whatever. If we're going to record one person, we'll probably have them boomed and also have them labbed up. Let's see, what other things do we need to think about? Yeah, so when recording in on film, kind of one of the standards is that you want to be able to reach out. We don't use the microphones in the camera. By the way, why? What's wrong? The Red, I have super expensive, high quality camera. The Canons that we have here are also really nice. Why don't we use the audio on those?
Jeremiah just talked.
Terrible.
It's super far and very bad quality. It's like not close to the actors at all.
Let's pretend that this was the camera and I put it right in front of Tim's face. That's not super far.
Yeah. It also has worse quality.
But it's very close.
Just because the camera is farther away doesn't mean that we don't want the microphone to be as close as possible. So right now, Phil is far enough away where we could get the microphone closer.
Yeah, but obviously if I'm standing closer, you're going to hear my audio louder. So because the camera's attached to the microphone, Geronimo, can you turn off the fans? Because the camera's attached to the microphone, you are limited by distance, but often, and depending on the camera, sometimes the cameras are really loud as well.
Yes.
So there's fans in the camera that keep the camera from overheating, and those run during the take or stop during the take and can interrupt your audio as well.
And the Canon cameras and the Sony cameras, they have digital pushes, zooms, and you can hear that. There's a little motor in there and it makes noise.
Look, you should, at home, are you hearing the clicking?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can hear the clicking.
So if you're not actually hearing the camera itself, you're hearing handling noise. So on the Red, if you're touching things, that all makes noise. So basically, we use the audio from the cameras as a scratch track. It allows us later when in editing, so we have a reference. So we know what was recorded, the audio was recorded, and it sometimes makes it easier to find the tracks or sync the tracks in post. The audio that we record though in films is always on a separate audio recorder. So we're going to use the F8. So we can get the microphones closer. Now, how? How do we get the microphones closer?
Either by connecting them via a boom mic.
Okay,
Therefore,
good,
you
stop. That's good. Wait, let me continue. So this is a boom. It's a way for us to extend the pole so we can get it closer to our subject. I can stand, if I was a boom operator, I can stand right out here, and if I wanted to, I could get the microphone really close to Angel, or Tim and I can mic each other from a distance, and the microphone will be closer. So it allows us to get the microphone as close as possible, and we always want the mic as close to the subject as we can.
The pole is the boom.
Yep.
Boom, and then the mic, boom mic. What type of microphone's on that, right?
Okay, what looks different or unique about this microphone?
It's much longer, which means it may be likely to pick up sound from a much longer distance.
Yeah, the boom, the shotgun mics are longer, and the longer they are, the more directional they are. That means that it's very, very specific to where you're pointing. So if I'm pointing at Angel and Angel speaks, and I want to get it as close as I could, but that's good sound. If now Angel's speaking and I'm pointing over here, it sounds like Angel's on the other side of the room. Something like that is absolutely unusable. So when you are booming and you're using the shotgun mic, you have to always be very aware of where you're pointing. I oftentimes see students when they are miking, they'll do something like that when Angel's speaking. Why is that not good? Yeah.
Because you could easily like lose the balance of the pole and.
Well, I'm talking about where the mic.
Oh, and it's also above Angel's head, it's not like.
Yeah, Michael,
His mouth.
Angel doesn't have a,
He doesn't have a mouth on his head.
yeah, Angel does, there's no mouth on top of
Yeah,
their
so
heads,
you
so.
wanna point at the mouth, basically, because that's where the audio is coming out. You wanna, and then if someone else speaks, you're gonna, move your microphone between two people.
Yeah. The other thing about the booms is that this is called a shot mount, and its job is to limit the amount of noise, handling noise there is that transfers from the boom to the mic. However, it helps, but it's not perfect. And so if I was trying to go between, say, Stephen and Liliana, if I am doing this type of thing, you would hear so much noise. So you have to very carefully, without handling it, go back and forth. And you would probably, if they're this far apart, want to have a boom over Stephen and a boom over Liliana. Does that make sense? So we want to pay attention to boom technique, because if someone does not do a good job, there can be real issues. So we'll talk a lot about that. The other thing that has to happen all the time, and boom operators oftentimes start to get lazy and they don't pay attention, and they'll think, okay, I'm good there. And then when we start recording, really they could get the microphone there, which would sound so much better, and yet they have it up here, which doesn't sound nearly as good. Or sometimes we start a take and they have it here, and now suddenly the camera operator says, cut, the boom's in the shot, now we're wasting time. Before every shot, you want to check for the frame line. The boom operator has to say to the DP, am I in? Tell me when I'm in. Okay, in, out, in. Okay, so I know that that's where I can be. Trying to get, and actors know. If you've been in our class, how many times have we done something where the microphone is right there in front of your face? Actors, a lot, right? Because we're trying to get the best audio possible. So if you are on boom on one of our shoots this semester, don't skip steps. We want the microphone as close as we can, and you have to figure out ways to hold it. Now, if we're doing a wide shot from a long distance away, and I have to hold it out for a long time, it can get very tiring. So you'll have to figure out ways to hold it so that you can hold for a 5-minute take or whatever. And there are a lot of different ways. What Tim's doing is very, very common. So be aware of that, practice with it. But handling noise is a real issue. The cable noise is also a real problem. So what Tim is doing is wrapping it. You don't want to do it too tight so that you can't make adjustments, but this bit of area can flap if you are moving it. And so you got to be aware of that. Oftentimes they'll come with straps, so you can strap them down, but I feel like this wrapping it is sometimes the easiest way to go.
Literally, the microphone will pick up your fingers touching it. So when you're the boom operator, you just wanna hold on during the take and try not to move. You know, you need to move and adjust, but you wanna do as little like movements as possible. I'm like a nervous person, so I tap my fingers and stuff, but not when I hold the boom operator. Or hold.
Can I mention something?
Yeah.
There are also boom mics that have an extra cord that is like connected to the boom mic. Like, could you point to the boom mic, please? Could you point to the
What?
Can you point to the boom mic, please? So like instead of like having to connect the boom mic via a long cord directly to the camera, there's a mini cord that'll go into the boom mic, and then you could connect the long cord to the bottom of the boom mic. I've actually worked with a boom mic like that before in Mr. Campbell's classroom at high school.
Are you talking about a wireless boom mic?
No, it's not a wireless boom mic. Like,
that goes into the boom hole.
Oh yeah, they do make boom poles that have the XLR integrated with the boom poles. We don't have those here. We have one. Well,
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too, because the problem is if that boom pole gets damaged at all, then it's unusable, right? So, but with the XLR, if we have a problem with the XLR in the middle of the shoot, you change your XLR cable.
So what he's talking about is an XLR plugs in here, and then it has an internal one inside the boom, and it comes out here. Problem is there's more noise and problems with
It
this.
really does pick up the.
oh.
Yeah, so this is not the ideal. We still use this boom, but we never use the internal XLR. But they do exist. Professionals just don't use them. Anyways, okay, so we don't just use booms though. How else do we mic our actors?
We use like microphone tape on the, like we put it underneath.
What are they
there's
called?
like shirt. I don't know what it's called. It's like.
We have a disagreement on pronunciation.
Lavalier.
Lavaliers.
Lavalier.
I'm not so happy with you. He loves you.
Lavalier.
We both had world-class audio engineers who taught us in college.
And Grant's just happened to be from Boston, obviously.
No.
because that's how
Mine was San Francisco in Monterey, but he called him a lavalier, so that's what I call him. His instructor down in San Diego,
Because
I think he was high all the time.
It was
but-
a French word, it's a French word and a French pronunciation. So
Anyways,
I say law.
All of our teachers were also pretentious.
So what's nice is about the lavalier or lavalier, you can hide them somewhere on your body. A lot of times they put them on their belt loop or in a pocket. We have an actor, Andre, who always puts it in his sock and runs it up his pants and then underneath his shirt to put it in. But it's nice because it's kind of convenient. It has an antenna to help send the signal. But then you want to keep this as close to your throat as possible. They're also known as lapel mics. Why? Yeah, so if you were doing a talk show and you don't care about your mic, you go watch, I watch Jimmy Kimmel and stuff. I know I'm old.
Okay,
Yeah. But if you look at the guests,
Not
they
like me,
often
I'm
have
young.
their lav mics that are on their tie or near their throat someplace.
Also news broadcasters will
Yeah.
put it on there and, yeah, it's when you're not trying to find them. When we do have TV, we'll do, lav mics on there for news programming.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really important because the microphone record pattern is a cardioid shape. So it comes up. So even though it's here, the record pattern is like kind of this and it's shallow. So it's just gonna get the person's voice, not really pick up anyone else's. So where you put it, and yeah, you can tape it on your body. You can use a microphone clip. You can clip it onto an undershirt, a bra, something. But what's really key is making sure that it's not rubbing against fabric. Or also there's mic etiquette when an actor acts and you go, "What about me?" That's killing the audio mixer because they're punching. It's called punching the microphone. So even actors can learn, like, hey, if you're gonna hit, protect the mic, right? Like, bend your fingers.
Yeah, and we often use the medical tape because it sticks to skin well to help hold the mic on. There's a kind of ideal place, kind of cleavage right on your chest, which is good because it gets less friction from clothes. We also have covers that go over the mic so that it
Reduces
reduces the amount that your clothes actually rub against it. So we have to be really careful for that. I like it actually outside of the clothes on the neck because there's less clothes noise, except that oftentimes then you can see it. So you just have to be able to hide it and eliminate
because we're making
noise.
movies, right? And we don't want people to see the microphone and be like, "Oh, it's not actually a story. It's they're filming a movie, right?" That's the suspension of disbelief. Grant, how is that tape on chest hair though?
Oh. I acted in David's film on Saturday, One More, Friday and Saturday, and I played the coach, and so I had to be laved up, and so I had a lot of the tape, and so when I was done, pulling it off was painful. So what we do for our craft, but yeah, it's not always the most fun. Okay, if we're shooting the boom and we're outside, what can be an issue with this? Yeah.
There can be like wind, birds.
Yeah, so
Car noises.
they're extremely sensitive to wind movement. So what can we do to eliminate that? And
A wind sock.
Yeah, so if you have ever filmed something with your your smartphone or even an old camcorder, if you're outside filming and it's windy, you can hear it. It sounds like it's an earthquake or it's super loud. So to help that, we can put a windsock. What's somebody call it? What, a dead cat?
Dead cat's another name for it.
Weird name. Anyways. This has multiple layers, and so if you have the windsock over the microphone, it eliminates all the wind issues. We don't have that. This, however, makes it heavier, and also it's a compression fitting, and so there's some movement, and so if you move the boom, you can hear a rattling noise. So you fix one problem, but it can lead to others. But if you have to film outside, and you're using a boom, windsock is really important. Yes.
How does since it's covering up the background, how does it still pick up?
No. It does not alter the sound at all. All it does is block the wind.
Okay.
So
okay, it just blocks
yeah, that's all it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way that the fiber, the air is there, wind hits it and that dampens or muffles the wind noise. So even if it's like you're in a hurricane, it might not do the trick, right?
Okay.
But they make different categories of these dead cats as well.
Okay.
So
Let's not call it dead cat, let's just call it a windsock.
You get demonetized,
So-
edit it.
So just know that our voices aren't gonna hit this, be muffled. It's
Yeah.
just gonna reduce the high rate wind from hitting the microphone, because the
Okay,
wind
I
is
see.
hitting the microphone and the resistance is what's causing the sound.
Okay.
So anytime you're in a place, you could be inside, and if there's a fan blowing, because the room is hot, the fan blowing can cause the same noise, so you wanna be aware. So, those are some of the tools. We have to talk a lot about the Zoom F8, because that's what we'll be using. So we probably wanna get close enough where we can, zoom in on it.
Zoom in on the
Zoom
Zoom.
on the Zoom.
Zoom on the Zoom.
So we start, if you look at this, and you should be coming closer so you can see this if you're in the room and haven't worked with the F8. If you, no one's coming closer. So if you see, they're actually numbered. So from right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the 4 inputs. And then if we switch it around, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are inputs. We actually have 2 XLR minis as well, so we can actually have 10. And you can also have other types of digital inputs as well. So it's an F8, but that means that there's 8 standard XLR inputs. By the way, let me show you the XLR cable. This is what we will use for audio cables. If you look, here is the female end. It has the 3 pins on the inside. We will push it in. There is a particular way, so the bottom pin goes in, and you'll hear it when it clicks, it's in. To release it, there's a pin here, so you push the pin and it will come out. So that's the female end, and then the male end.
You reverse them.
Actually, I'm reversed it. This is the female end, and that's the male end. So the male end goes into the recorder, female goes into the microphone. And one of the things that we do is I don't keep batteries in my Sennheisers. AA batteries corrode after time. They're unreliable, so I just don't use them. So what I do is I set up the recorder to use phantom power. Someone tell me what phantom power is.
Some,
And that's the circuit that's running from the main audio recorder to the microphone.
Yeah, so through the XLR cable, it sends power and powers the microphone. I find that it is better, cleaner sound, and you don't have to worry about batteries or corrosion or any of that. So, thank you. We'll use phantom power. I can show you how to set that up. But anyways, let's go back to the F8. You can see how these are each of the 8 channels that we talked about for the XLR inputs. Remember, if you push the number, it turns on the channel and it actually lights up red. So right now I have 1, 2, and 3 lit up. I like to start on channel 1 and then move up as I have more channels. And typically what happens is you put your booms in mics in first and then go to lavaliers. So quite often we'll have 1 boom, sometimes 2, into channels 1 or 2, and then we'll start adding lavaliers for each of the actors. And we do not want to have a channel on if we're not using it. Right now, we only have channel 1 on, and you can actually see the meter bouncing. It's coming through this microphone. So as you can tell, it was bad. But as it's closer to my face and I speak louder, you can see that the levels are getting higher. By the way, when we record levels, where do we want to keep it?
below the red.
Yeah, we never want to have red because even though it's a digital recorder.
You can go high green, a little bit into the yellow.
Yeah, actually, I like yellow with a little bit of red.
Oh, all right.
I'm sorry, a little bit of orange. As soon as we started to get into the red, we start to have problems with issues. And it's not this is, the meter can't keep up with the audio it's hearing. So it's sustained sound. So if I went like, ooh, see, I'm hitting a little bit of the red, it's a little too high. But when I'm speaking, you can see that the peaks are going into the red. This is, with the microphone here, it's definitely too high. So if I wanted to turn it down a bit, now when I'm speaking, that's probably a little better, cleaner sound. And we would be able to hear all of this if we had the headphones on. But ideally, this is pretty good audio for this level. If then I wanted to turn on the two labs, these are brand new, so I'm not even sure they're on the right channels, but I'm going to
For sure, Tim.
try. What?
It's all right. Don't worry.
Test, 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 test. Check, check, check. Okay, so I now have the boom microphone on me, and I have the lab on me as well. And they seem kind of pretty close. We would have to check them. If suddenly I had a loud line, then maybe I would go off. That's where you kind of want to do audio checks and get the actors to say their lines, how they would say them in the film, know if there's any screams or anything like that, so you can adjust. Oftentimes we will double mic so that, and keep one low, so that we get the scream or something that's very loud and still have the dialogue at the right level. So I don't know what else to say.
Overmodulation.
Yeah, a bit. Go ahead.
If it goes into the reds, it's okay to peak every now and then, but the way audio waveforms are made, they are like literally waves, ups and downs. You see the audio bouncing as the talking goes. And so the highs go up and the lows go low. But if you overmodulate, which means you record it at the wrong level, you're basically turning this natural wave, the audio wave, into a flat line because it'll go up and then just peak. Now, what does that mean? It means when you record it and you take it to your editor, you can bring the volume down so that the volume is within proper volume of the clip. But because the way you recorded it, you overmodulated it, means you basically aren't recording any of the high peaks. So it becomes a flat line. And even if you lower the volume, it'll always sound garbled, messed up, distorted, overmodulated. If anything, you're better off to record quieter and then add volume in post-production. What happens if you record something really quiet though, and you raise the volume?
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah. What do we hear? If we record the dialogue and it's really quiet, and then noise. And what we mean by noise is we're basically adding digital gain, which is how we in gain in our cameras, we add digital light. Gain in audio, we add digital volume. And what can come with digital volume is a hissing sound. Like that could be, if we record really low, we have to raise up hissing sound. But with our editing software, we can remove a lot of that. It's way easier to fix something more quiet than it is to fix something that's overmodulated. In fact, you really can't repair something that's overmodulated.
So it's good to constantly check audio levels.
It's best to record at the right level, but if you're nervous, always go a little lower is what my suggestion.
Yeah. Any questions? Questions about the F8s, recording, etc. Okay, a couple procedural things that we want you to know. First is what is this called? Slate. Okay, why do we use a slate?
To mark the stuff.
Yeah, so we are recording the audio on one device and the video on another device. Why is that a problem?
You need to know. So,
They're two separate sources, so if you bring them together, how do you make sure that they're in sync?
Yeah.
So in the old days, it used to be film cameras, and the old recorders, they actually, in the very beginning, recorded on records, and then they would sync them later. But they have to take that audio signal and match it with the video signal, so they're in sync. And the way they used to do it is that they would watch the slate close and figure out exactly when it hit, and then when you hear the loud slapping noise, it would have a spike, and you could match the spike with the close, and you know that the two are in sync.
Yeah.
There's now software that does a lot of that for you. It will automatically sync audio files with video files. I don't ever take the time. I love doing it myself, but there's software that does it. But the other way that this does this is that this takes time code, and we can sync the time code from the F8 to the slate to the camera. So what do you think generates the time code? And why? Why do you think that, which device do you think would do it?
A battery.
Or which device?
The audio mixer or the F8.
Audio mixer, the slate, or the camera?
The camera.
It's the audio mixer.
Yeah.
This is high tech when it comes to recording audio and time code. This is the most reliable, trustworthy one. You could leave this on for a month and it won't drop a frame. It will be exactly in sync. The camera, by the end of the day, even the best cameras can be off 2 or 3 frames. So there's slippage.
And with the camera, you're more likely to take the battery off, have to change the battery, which then will stop the time code, right? It'll lose power more so than the audio mixer.
I get this wrong half the time. So this cartridge goes in, and I never know what plus or minus. So if this is right. Yep, it is. Okay, so this sets the time code. So we will then plug the slate into the F8. So there's a 1/4 inch input on the side of the slate. The SDI port here, there's in and out. If this is generating it, what port should it go in or out?
Out.
Out, because we're sending the signal out of the Zoom. Out is on the bottom. So we put the cable on like that. We have the slate should be off as it is. Then you go to the menu on the Zoom, which is this one right here. I'm doing this upside down and backwards. And so I want to scroll down with the knob. How do I do this so you can see? So I scroll down to time code. If I push the button, it's enter, and now you see the time code running there. I want to scroll down to jam, and then as I turn the slate on, I push enter by pushing that button. So turn it on, hit enter, and then why did this not turn on? Battery dead? The batteries are dead. Anyways, someone left this on over the weekend. Whoever did this slate over the weekend did not take the battery case out or turn the power off. Who did audio this on Saturday?
What did I not do?
You didn't take the battery out of the slate or turn the power off, whoever was.
Oh, I didn't have it set up.
Yeah, whoever did that. So anyways, that's how you do it. Then you just menu back to your main menu to see the slate. Then it is being very careful to make sure the levels are good. There's no distortion. You're not into the red or too low. And everyone needs to work with this. I want everyone to come up and listen, though, to see how important the boom is. So everyone should come up, put on the headphones really quickly, and I want for you to listen for audio signal. So who's a talker?
Me.
Okay, come on up.
Me, I can't.
Okay, so you start talking.
I recently went on a trip and went skiing the weekend.
You can also turn the, hold
I
on,
was just about to get
the
into it.
headphone volume's there. Oh, it's all the way at max, that's why.
Well, you just kept going.
No, it's okay. I'll give like a vlog update, okay, guys? I went skiing the past weekend with my cousins. I hadn't gone out with them in a long time, and I decided then to pack up our stuff. I drove. It was like 4 hours away. It was a nightmare. And
Okay, who's next? You're gonna talk for a while.
oh no, I got it. I'm not even.
Just keep going. Don't even stop at me.
Not even halfway through my story.
Talk more about how Tim's wrong from yesterday.
Tim's very wrong. He's always wrong. He continues to get us wrong, but I mean, there's not much we can do about Tim being wrong all the time. More on that later, guys. Basically, right now.
What about the model show? Why is Tim wrong about the model show?
I don't say anything about that. It was a 4-hour drive.
Who's next?
There was a lot of fog while we were driving, so you should see like maybe like a foot in front of you, maybe even less than that. Imagine the lights of the cars being so far away that you couldn't really see them that well. So I was driving my F-250 truck, just kind of swerving it around. And I had to drive those 4 hours up that mountain.
Who's next?
And I thought it was less of a nightmare because I can.
Both,
Well, because
why not?
they're listening, not talking to you.
So watch the boom while you listen.
Talk about your favorite.
I was listening.
Oh shit, I don't know favorite TV show. You know what? Actually, I did really like Anne with an E, and then they got canceled, and that pissed me off. And what is Anne with an E? That one show from Netflix that I can't remember the name of, but it's like kind of like a Sherlock Holmes spoof. But I thought it was really good. What other show is there?
See the difference? Yeah.
What you talked about, you watched.
I vlogged.
Talk about Tyra.
We talked about Tyra Banks yesterday. We were talking about the controversy where
She was wrong.
well, I don't think she was wrong. Tim thinks that Tyra was wrong. I think she was wrong, but not as wrong as people like to say. I hate that they try to paint her as like a angry black woman.
Can't
type
go there,
of
right.
thing. That is bad.
You hear the difference?
honestly.
Yeah.
Anyone else wanted to listen? Okay, anyone want to look, or any questions about the F8 or any of the equipment we'll be using for recording?
Does anyone want to try?
Can I listen too?
Yes.
Yeah, does anyone
Yeah,
want
to
to?
make
Put it on, well, I'll boot you while you ask the question.
Yeah.
You said if it's on a battery, you use that instead, so it's more reliable, right?
I never use batteries in the mic.
So if you have the power supply instead, what does the fancy?
No, so the power supply goes into the Zoom, and the Zoom provides phantom power to the microphones. So these microphones actually have a slot where you can put a battery, like a AA battery, into it to power it. But if you use phantom power, the power is coming from the Zoom through the cable into the microphone. So that if you have both going at the same time, it can sometimes cause interference and or cause a weird sound in your microphone. But if you have a microphone that needs power, that's when you turn on phantom power.
So would you take the battery out of that? And then use
I would never put a battery in my microphone because you leave it in and it would corrode and possibly kill your battery. has happened, or
Kill your mic.
kill your microphone, which has happened to me several times.
I've never put a battery in one of my.
Unless you're using like a camera or a device that just does not offer phantom power. That's when you would need a battery, but all of our devices here have phantom power.
Madison, what are you doing?
That's it.
What are you catching? What are you catching?
Am I catching?
Yeah.
I'm not catching anything. I'm doing Mario and Sonic Rio 2016.
Rio 2016.
It's really important, zoom in.
So I lost.
By the way,
Unfortunately, I lost.
when we did the slate,
3DS XL.
All right.
when we jammed for the slate, and remember this was plugged in to the 1/4 inch. This came out of the F8. I then take it to the red and I hand it to, by the way, does the audio person ever jam the slate to the camera?
No, only the DP.
No, there is a procedure. So you will hand the cable to the DP or the first AC, and that person will do it. There is a mini sync port, which is this. So we go from the SDI cable with the converter into the mini sync, and the DP or first AC will put it in the sync port. And then you will open up the slate and read off the time code and make sure that they are actually in sync. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, etc. And then you make sure that they're in sync. When they are, they'll pull the sync port out, you pull the 1/4 inch out and put this back in the sleeve. And now the slate is ready. You can write, shot 1, take 1, and etc.
You put your fingers in between that, Grant?
Yeah, when I want to go to the hospital, I do.
Well, also, I mean,
You can do it for like quiet, what is it called? Quiet or silent take?
What is it called, Phil?
I
Think about it.
There you
I
go.
see.
Yeah.
So
Thank
if
you.
we are not recording audio,
You don't need a sync pointer.
we are just recording video. We still want a slate. And so when we're shooting MOS, this is how we will point this at the camera, and it will have writing on it. And we'll say shot 1, take 1, and I don't close it. This means that I'm shooting MOS.
MOS.
When my fingers are through and I don't close the slate.
MOS means what though?
MOS means you're shooting without audio, and it stands for mid-out sound. It's a German phrase, and we still use it. By the way, what does this mean?
It was in the BTS this week. Did you all watch the BTS?
I did.
posted it. What? I talked about this. What was it called?
Tail slate.
Tail slate.
Oh, there we go.
If the tail slate, if you cannot slate at the beginning of a shot, oftentimes in a tight area or something like that, you start to film, and at the end you do a tail slate, and that means the slate is upside down and you slate it at the end of the shot. You can also have tail slates that are MOS, so you can have a tail slate with the fingers through and you don't close, and it means it's a tail slate MOS shot.
A tail slate will happen if you just start shooting because something random's happening, and we forgot to slate. Let's do a tail slate at the end. Or it could be like, hey, there's a really big movement and it's hard for us to set up the camera's first position to get the slate. So we'll tail slate it at the end because
You
We
guys,
often
oh,
tail
right
slate.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We often tail slate a jib shot. When the camera's up high and we have the focus and everything's ready, and then after it, by the way, what happens a lot is the director will say cut, someone will stop the camera, and now it's not slated, and then editing is an issue. But what you typically do is, okay, stop action, and then the jib will come down so that the first AC or second AC can then slate it at the end. So,
a jib's like a crane that the camera's on, if we haven't talked about that yet.
and we will get to all of that. Any audio questions? I know I've been rambling on a lot.
This will be
So-
a great opportunity. Well, let Jake, hold on for 1 second. But all of you here, great opportunity to touch all this stuff too. So the best thing, especially those of you who are newer, is to be able to handle the equipment before the day of, because you don't want to get there and not know. And the best thing to do is know no one's going to be mad at you as if you ask a question. Why is this? Well, we'll be mad if we're in the middle of a take and you ask a question. But when they say cut, say, hey, I'm not sure if I was even recording. But for sure, ask that one after the take, because
I got a nightmare story about that. So we did a scene, it was a poker game that led to a fight scene. And we loved how it was shot. We got the special thing that allowed the camera to be in the middle of the table and rotate around. And then we had a circular dolly that day so we could film, and it lit it. Everything looked great. The acting was great. By the way, one of the actors was a good friend of mine, and he acted in it, and he is now passed. He had throat cancer, and the awful thing was the person doing audio, oh, I know what I'm doing, and he would hit record and then sometimes forget to hit stop, and then the next take they would say action, and so he would be recording all the downtime and then not record. He also had the levels so low that we couldn't hear anything, that if there was, all the audio was absolutely unusable. And so we had this great film that we could not, the audio was terrible. So we use it as an example to do Foley and ADR a couple of times, but audio is incredibly important. And bad audio can take you out of a project right away. So got to be aware.
absolutely.
Any other questions about any of the equipment or any audio?
Jake, did you want to say something?
Oh, well, I had a question.
Oh, Jeremiah.
So for the tail slate, do you write all the stuff upside down again, like
No.
the director's name and stuff?
No, nothing,
Okay, so-
none of that changes. Just the numbers.
Yeah, it'll be upside down, but like, you're an editor, you could just flip the image if you wanted to read it, right? And you're probably not gonna get a lot that are tail slate.
By the way, we want the slate in frame before, when they say roll camera, the slate has to be there right away. Anyone know why we do that?
So it's the.
Editing thumbnails.
Match
Yeah,
the time.
The very first frame of a shot is your thumbnail. So if you can see the slate number, then it makes it so much easier to find files. I edited a scene from Willow's film, and there were none of the first frames are slates. I don't know who DP'd that day or who was the first AC. But I couldn't see the slates, so I have to then kind of guess or go back to the preview clip and look. So it helps. And what has anyone done slate? Anyone been second AC? What do you have to do to prep?
You write down the scene and take.
Yeah, you do the director, the title of the project, things like that. But oftentimes take one is fine, but oftentimes, okay, roll camera. Oh, and I haven't changed to take two yet, and now we're waiting. We've already recording audio, so you're making everything, all the files longer. So if you are operating the slate, you're the second AC, you want to make sure you're ready, just like the boom has to have the frame line ahead of time. If you're doing slate, you want to have the next take ready. So you're always talking with the AD to make sure that you're prepped ahead of time. Comments, questions, anything? Yes.
Could you go over how to connect the lavalier?
The lavalier connected, meaning what? So there's the lavalier, there is a transmitter. This is on the actor. and there's only one port. It has the mini port that plugs in, so you push it in and then screw it. You know that it is the transmitter because there is a switch that says mute. So if the actor suddenly has to go to the bathroom, they can click mute, go into the bathroom and pee, or any noises that they want. No one can hear it, and they come back and then take mute off. And so they don't have to worry about that without having to remove everything. There's your transmitter. It sends a wireless signal to the receiver, and the receiver has two. One, so you can listen for with a mini headphone port in here, but it has the signal that turns it into the mini into an XLR that plugs in just like that, and then the power on and power off are here. We have all of ours on separate channels so that, and we mark them. So this is orange. Orange is already set to the right channel. So when you turn them on, they automatically are picking up the signal. At times, we have actors who are particularly loud, like a Jason, and we need to turn basically the level down a bit, or we have some actors who talk very soft. We need to turn it up a bit. That's about the only thing you want to adjust with the lavaliers.
And a good thing to know about the lavaliers are that they are paired, right? You can see they're both orange, and that's because they're the same frequency. So if you mix the packs, they're not going to work. You can't just put one with one. You can change the frequency, but we recommend using the right ones. They're all colored and marked to be the pairs.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the college has four or five of these, and we mark each one a separate color. I don't have that much tape, and so I need to do something like, I've kind of numbered some of them, but I now have 3 new ones. If you mix them up, it can be a real problem because, so in other words, we want to make sure that the oranges stay together, the greens stay together.
The other thing to note is one's the receiver, one's the transmitter. The receiver receives the transmission. So the transmitter is going to be the microphone that's on the actor. The receiver is the one that's plugged into the Zoom. When they're not plugged in, they look very similar. Did you say this already? Okay. Well, if you watch the BTS, I said the same thing, and sorry, I was looking at something else.
No worries. Did we answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about audio or, yeah?
Is there ever a situation where you want to use a fully wired lavalier? Like any kind of situation you want to use that over a wireless one?
If you have a wired mic, which we do have some here, the best situation is like if you're doing a sit-down interview and you don't want to waste batteries, right? Like the wired mic could draw phantom power and doesn't require a battery. That would be the only situation. If you're walking around and everything, never use that. That's useless. But if you you're going to sit someone down and interview them for an hour, 2 hours, and you're like, I don't want to have to worry about the batteries, because that's what the biggest drawback from the wireless system is. You need batteries. So you should always have backup batteries too. That's something to bring on the set to make sure that you have batteries, because if you don't, when the batteries start to wear down, the audio can get less powerful, right? Because it's a radio transmission. So you need to be a certain distance close to each other. And if you get too far away, the radio is not going to interact. So that's what makes sense.
They're limiting. The college has about 8 or 10 wired lavaliers, and we've never used them since I've been here. I bought a very expensive pack that allows us to hardwire the lavaliers. And when I bought it, I thought, oh, okay, I might use this sometime. I've never touched it. If you think about it, Tim has the exact, if they're sitting down and it's an interview, there's no movement, fine, that would work. But in filmmaking, quite often actors are moving.
Yeah.
And you have to hide the mics and the packs. And so for practical purposes, I've never done it. And so
I have done it, but not for filmmaking, for corporate video, for, sit down interviews, yes. That's when I use those.
Yeah.
And as a battery saving.
good question.
Yeah, great.
Other questions about audio or? None? Okay. Speaking of batteries, I'm powering off the lavaliers.
This will be a good opportunity now to go in the lab, and if you want to touch any of this stuff, come up and touch it. This is the benefit of being here in class.
Otherwise, we're gonna start talking about to the individual writers and directors about their projects. Lots and lots of projects happening soon, so, think we should say goodbye?
Yes.
Okay, we're signing off on Zoom.